I'm aging like fine wine. And by that, I mean I'm in a dark place, turning bitter, and no one is touching me.
Was that meant for me?
Possibly.
Welcome to GayTalk 2.0, the ultimate podcast for your dose of dish.
Good evening, ladies and gents, and welcome back to another episode of GayTalk 2.0, an LGBT podcast. We are streaming live on our YouTube channel for all of our Patreon supporters, and you can access that live stream if you're a Patreon supporter right away. If not, then you'll have to wait to the week after. But anyway, my name is Tom, and I'm your host, and as always, I'm in the studio with my amazing co-host, starting with the first one.
Hey, y'all, Nick or Trish.
And
J Bear, a.k.a. your boyfriend's boyfriend.
And I want to welcome you to the show. It is May 1st. It is officially, wow, time flew.
I don't want to talk about it.
So, May means that, it's warmer weather.
It's gonna be May.
It's exactly.
Rabbit.
It's gonna be gay.
Especially for you. You've got quite a May planned out for you.
Oh my God.
It's going to be insane. But with May comes warmer weather. People are out and about doing, yard work, all that good stuff. My body's feeling it. I've been at it all week, even before last week, but trying to get things in order and presentable for parties for the summer,
For warmer weather.
Exactly. So when I can go outside in my manties and just lay out in the grass and just be me.
Every time I think I'm gonna pass out, I have one cube of cheese.
Cube of cheese.
Oh my God! Wait, that was from Mean Girls?
X-Lax and water until prom. By that prom, I mean gala.
You just
Oh,
eat cotton,
boy.
girl. You'll be fine.
So I'm not gonna say who. So I'm not gonna say who, but someone I know recently hired an assistant, and their name is Armani.
Oh my God.
Which, I mean, I love it, right? But at the same time, all I can think about is Devil Wears Prada. And when Miranda was like, well, get Del Marchelier on the phone. I have Del Marchelier. And he hangs up the phone, and I keep saying that every single time I see this person.
Oh my God. My favorite line in that, it's like, I'm one flu away from my ideal goal weight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Emily Blunt was amazing in that movie. She was fierce.
Yeah.
And there's some, and Stanley Tucci, right?
Yeah.
He was great. I mean, that man can play a gay man like no one's business.
I know, and he's not.
And he's not. That's what surprises me.
For the longest time, I thought he was.
I thought so too. And then I found out he wasn't. I was like, okay, well that's fine.
I mean, that's fine for you.
That's fine. But he played the shit out of that role. I mean, I think everybody was pretty iconic. The movie at this point is pretty much, just it's a classic. I mean, it's one of those cult classics, right?
Yeah, totally.
It's
100%.
Emily, that's you, honey.
Sometimes, that scene where they're standing behind Miranda and they're like, that's so-and-so from so-and-so, blah, 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 blah.
Oh my God, yes.
That's how I feel with my boss sometimes. I'm just like I'll be standing next to him. I'm like, this person's in the room. This person's in the room. Go talk to that person. Their name is blah, blah, blah. He's like, thank you.
Well, it's what we have to do to make people feel important, especially when, they're in a position to give what you're looking for, which is money.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, you do what you must to make people feel special.
Yeah.
So, but aside from that, round table, why don't we toss it over to Jaybird? Jaybird, how the hell are you besides picking the skin off your nails?
I'm not picking skin off my nails.
Then what are you doing?
Playing with myself here.
Oh, okay.
I'm not bad. Getting over some aches and pains.
Mm-hmm. You too? Yard work?
Yeah, yard work. Last weekend, which we didn't discuss last time, I decided I was going to change the brake pads on my truck.
You did tell me about this.
Remember when we went to eat and...
Yeah, he's such a butch boy.
And it was like grinding, and I was like, all right. So my brother showed up unexpectedly from Kansas. Just, hey, I'm here.
I feel like that happens often for you.
Yeah, it does. So I was like, hey, he's in town, might as well take advantage. I was like, hey, I got to do the breaks, and I've done them before, but you know, there's always unforeseen shit that occurs. So we get the brake pads. We're changing the brake pads. The front calipers in the truck are frozen. I can't get the pins out. But then again, the original to the truck, that truck's been off-roading years on end.
Mm-hmm.
I've had brake pads done maybe once.
Like her
before.
dad.
Yeah. So, so yeah, we ended up spending pretty much the entire day working on the truck. I had to replace the calipers, the rear discs in the back, new brake pads.
You do realize this is a gay show, right? We have no idea what you're talking about.
So if you want to talk about gay stuff, we can go to me after
We
he's
can
done
go
about
to-
breaks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anywho, spend the day fixing the truck brakes, yada yada. Sunday morning, I woke up. I thought someone ran over me with my truck because I was in pain.
Yeah, it's like
It was-
you realize all of a sudden, you haven't used muscles in a whole year that you're, used to using in the summer. And
Yep.
before you know it, it's like that first 1 or 2 weeks is just torture.
Except
Yeah.
for you, Tom. You've been exercising in different ways.
And then,
Well, of course I have.
exercising the jaw isn't as
Yeah, but you got to bend
Bend
down.
down.
Yeah. The knees don't work as good as they used to, though. That's
to.
hard. That's really
They
hard.
snap, crackle, and pop on the way up.
Probably what
and
the
down.
earthquake was. He would bent down and his knees cracked.
Oh boy.
This bitch.
But anywho, yeah.
That was mean. I'm sorry, Tom. We love you.
I know.
Thank
I
you
know.
for letting me borrow your suitcase.
Don't be jealous. That's all.
But anyways, but then I did some yard work and then prepared a couple of garden beds. I'm trying to add more color.
So
to my
you
yard.
brought me like 500 seeds from seed
'cause-
pods, right?
'cause I'm like,
From your
Hibiscus.
hibiscus tree. It's one of those rare ones that actually survives the winter and comes
Yeah.
back every year, which is considered a perennial, by the way. And out of all the seeds that I threw in water, one has sprouted, and I am babysitting that thing. I'm moving it around. Okay, does this sun really suit you? Do you like it here? I'm really nursing that thing religiously. I was like, I don't want you to die because I really do want big hibiscus in the front of the house. And so, yeah.
Proud of you.
Yeah. Now next year I'll grab even more.
Okay.
I brought him like 1,000 seeds in the
Yeah,
club.
and I put them all in water and to see which ones were
water and dirt, right?
Well, no, just
No.
water at first. You gotta soak them in water, right? And then those that float to the top are no good. You can scoop those out, throw them out, and then eventually, once they're in water for about 4 or 5 days, you've softened them enough to be able to throw them in dirt.
Why didn't I know that?
Yeah, sometimes they'll open up a little bit and you'll know that those are live.
Yeah, it's
You know,
like when
it gets wet.
exactly.
That's kind of where I was going with that.
So that's that. Well, I'm happy that you have new
Yeah.
brakes, which is important because sometimes I'm in your vehicle and I'm precious cargo.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm definitely some kind of
Yeah.
cargo, but I saw that. I saw
I
that.
didn't do anything.
You didn't have to. The face said it all.
I mean,
The moment I said precious cargo, this is her face.
no, it was more like,
It
She's
looked a little
nasty.
strokish.
Right? She was going sideways. Oh, what are you looking at, Nick?
the side of my face.
The side of his face.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. You look fabulous.
Fabuloso.
Fabuloso. So, you had an eventful day today. Do you want to talk about it?
No,
Yeah, this is the second podcast I've been on. I'm exhausted. Oh.
that was a quick
exhausted.
interview. It was only 11 minutes.
Yeah, it was only 11 minutes. They're between 10. They're normally 10 minutes a piece. Last year it went long because the guy that I was talking to, we were having a good time, and I was saying 100% a lot.
Yeah. And he didn't say that once this time around.
No, I didn't repeat myself at all, really. So no, it's that time of year again. It's the Great Give, where it's a 48-hour period where all the nonprofits in the Greater New Haven area benefit from donations through the Community Foundation. There are a bunch of prizes and a bunch of matches you can get. So I went and talked about the Schubert on the independent radio, New Haven's independent radio today. So the interview went great. We will post the link on our show notes today.
Yeah, so you can watch it.
Yeah, well, I wasn't saying the video, but we can do that. But I was also saying if you want to make a contribution to the Schubert, we're about halfway to our goal. Our goal is $10,000, and every gift in any denomination helps.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Awesome.
And what else has been going on in your life?
So it's just crazy. So I had a show on Saturday. I had Sunday off. I ended up getting a little bit of a sinus infection that I had to clear up, which was not fun. I'm still kind of like, meh. But
What do you use?
Steroids.
Steroids. Oh, okay.
Jizz.
Yeah, and a
No,
neti
that's
pot.
my ammo.
That's a
And a neti pot. But
that neti pots help.
yeah.
100%.
100%. And now we have shows every day. So I'm not actually at the theater today or tomorrow, and we have shows today and tomorrow, and then Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday I'm not at the theater because I'm leaving for New York. But we have shows all week long. Hadestown is at the Schubert Theater, which is a super great show. Super excited. And yeah, I mean, like, just plugging along.
And then next week you are going on a amazing voyage. You're going to Hawaii.
Hawaii, yeah.
Yes.
I'm excited. Yeah,
When was the last time you were in Hawaii?
So you know what's crazy? The last time I was in Hawaii was around this time, about 9 years ago when my brother passed away.
Oh, wow.
And now I'm going back to Hawaii, impromptu going back to Hawaii around the same time, a couple weeks or about a month, 2 months after my nephew passed away. It's really weird to me.
It's a Hawaii thing.
Yeah, like I don't know, like it hit me all of a sudden because I got a memory, you know?
The realization.
And I was like, oh my God. And like it was such a healing trip for me. I'm hoping that'll be the same.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, losing someone is very painful, and you know, it's something that you truly never recover from, right? And you know, because I believe that is our purpose in life. You meet people that you take with you for the rest of your journey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how long you last on this earth, you will always remember them. And so, but you know, things like that, self-care is important.
Mm-hmm.
It allows you to find perspective and find meaning in loss.
And I haven't actually had a vacation for me
In a long time.
in a long time. So I'm really excited about it. But, and like, so speaking of my nephew, my sister, so the jacket that he was wearing when he passed away, you know, they cut you out of the jacket. It's like a little morbid, but you know, they cut you out of your clothes. And my sister wanted it so badly. So I was like, well, look, I know a couple people. I work in the theater. Like I know some, you know, people that can fix it. So I was like, I'll take it. And I was talking to, you know, our costume person at work. And I was like, look, this is a little weird, a little morbid, but my sister really wants to at least have this intact again in some way. And so she gave it to, I guess, one of her friends who's a tailor. And I met the tailor yesterday, I think. And I was just thanking her. I was like, just let me know how much it costs. I'll take care of it and all this stuff. She's like, oh, no, you're not paying for anything. And I'm telling you, like, this is not a small job. I was like, oh, people are really good. People are really good.
There are really good people in the world.
And of course, I was like, no, of course I'm going to pay you. You know, we went back and forth. She's like, yeah, okay, you can try, whatever. And you know what I mean? But like that's like,
Yeah.
like it's, you know, kind of
I think when it really counts, people do step up in some way, shape, or form.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't even know this woman. I just met her for the first time, right? So
Right. Well, I mean, you know, given the circumstances, I could understand why she would probably feel inclined to be, you know, generous and also in a way supportive of your grief and the grief of your sister, right?
Yeah.
So, well, I wish you the best. We're gonna miss you next week on the show.
So are you guys doing a show next week?
Yeah, we're gonna have to. We're gonna have to, you know, figure it out.
We're gonna figure it out.
Okay.
You're gonna be 6
somebody
hours
listening in
ahead of
place.
us.
Yeah.
No,
so,
behind us. Wait.
So
California's 3 hours ahead.
it'll be
6 hours.
It'll be
ahead.
like 12 p.m. my time.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Oh no, I'll totally fucking call in and be like, "Hi guys,
She will be drunk.
Yeah.
calling you from Hawaii."
Hawaii.
So funny story.
Did you download Grinder and all the?
Yeah, no, everything's been updated.
She's ready. 84 years is gonna be gone soon. Oh wait, that already happened.
Someone, not naming names, reached out that I know, and they were like, "Should we go to like a nude beach one day?" And I was like, "Yeah, why
Sure,
not?
let's go."
Yeah, let's go to a nude beach.
Oh, you are going to get plowed behind some sort of hibiscus bush.
Come back with some Hawaiian crabs.
Hashtag palm tree. Hashtag coconut tree.
If you can and you find one, bring me back an orchid.
How the fuck am I gonna bring an orchid back?
Just take like a small little piece and just wrap it in
Look for
a glad bag.
Look for a mango tree and then in Tommy's forte. Get plowed behind a mango.
I cannot.
Knowing
I'm
me,
kidding.
I'd be
I'm
getting
kidding.
plowed behind a coconut tree.
Yeah.
Coconut would fucking come down, knock me the fuck out. Be like, don't stop.
But I hope you have a good time. I think it's going to be wonderful. You know, it's always good to get away. I went away, you know, for my birthday, and I had not been away in a while. Right? It's been, I bought this house, and really I haven't gone anywhere aside for work related, you know, trips here and there, and it felt so good to see people and to be around, you know, a different environment, heat. Because that was hot, and drinking and eat, and the food, my God, the food.
The food's something different.
It's just legendary. I mean, if you think my mother can cook, man, I'm taking some businesses out there that you'd be like, Tom, you better get me out of here, or you're gonna need to order like a fucking tow truck or a pickup truck or something to come lift me off the seat. It's amazing. So. But yeah, so I hope you have fun. We'll miss you next week.
I'm sure I will have fun.
Yeah, it'll be fun. She took the biggest suitcase that I own.
Yeah. I'm more concerned about, I just want to relax. And there are, the people that I'm going with are, sometimes they can be, I love them, but like, they're like planners, you know, like vacation planners. I'm more of a vacation, like I'm there.
Right. Well, I mean, you don't feel obligated to go anywhere with anyone. If you guys made plans, have a great time. I'm just going to put a little towel here and just lay here all day and just
I'm going to read my book. But seriously.
But seriously, yeah. Which, by the way, it's Dr. G's latest book. We're excited.
Yeah. They're sending us another one. So
yeah.
I'm going to take the one that you have so I can read it.
Yeah, well, hopefully the one that they're sending will get here before you leave.
Maybe it will.
Yeah, you just never know. So that's that. Nick is gonna go away, and so we'll miss you. And
may come back.
He may come back, and hopefully we'll have someone.
Should be back.
To join us next week.
Are you looking at someone?
Yes.
Ooh.
We don't know. Well, we thought about asking Tony to come join us.
Yeah.
Tony,
but you haven't asked him.
No, that's not fair. That's not fair. You know what? I'll be in Hawaii, but still, that's not fair.
Well, we asked. We don't know yet.
We don't know yet. So it might be a whole bunch of, you know, there might be options. It's a matter of making it happen. So make sure that you ask so that we can figure that out. And then the only thing left to say, you know, about Hawaii is have a good time. But being that, you know, we recently traveled as a gay person, what do you do to prep yourself for travel? Like what things can you do? Let's talk about some of the things that you can do to minimize your stress during traveling. Like,
well, I'm white.
What? He's not wrong.
So I basically, you know, I sent a message to my doctor. I'm like, I need a few Xanax. I need a few sleeping pills. And then I go shopping.
Mm-hmm.
I have Botox tomorrow. Then I pack and I go.
That's amazing. So from a perspective of, you know, getting to the airport, going through all the, you know, the motions, do you, for example, because, you know, when you travel, you have to take your shoes off. You have to take your belt off. You have to do this
anymore.
So you do the pre-check, right?
So I have TSA pre-check now, so I don't have to take my shoes or belt or anything off. I don't have to take anything out of my bags, nothing. I just go through the TSA pre-check line, and I'm good.
You know they still scan your bag though, right?
Yeah, I know they scan my bag.
I have a I wear my slip off shoes, easy.
Yeah.
Right. So
I don't wear belts. I try to wear things that have like expanding
stuff,
because you don't realize when you're in a pressurized cabin, your body bloats.
Yeah.
You expand.
Well, it's you know what's difficult for me in this instance is that the family that I'm traveling with, the father is a pilot for the airline. So I have to actually dress nice. I can't just wear sweats or slip-ons because
that sucks.
there's a world in which, because I am technically part of this group, this family, I could get upgraded. And if that happens, you have to look a certain way to sit in first class.
Oh, so
or dress a certain way to sit in first class or business. Yeah.
And so you have to be.
There's a dress code.
Presentable.
Right.
Yes.
Like I can't. Like it's not like you have to be. Like I could wear exactly what I'm wearing and I'm fine.
Right.
Like a polo and.
Yeah, you just can't go in 90s.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And jogging pants and.
I mean, if you have an overnight flight, you can always bring like a change to like sleep. But it was interesting the first time they told me, because I've been upgraded to first a couple times flying with them, but they were like, yeah, just like, dress like not business casual, like one level below business casual. I was like, okay. And then I was upgraded. I was like, okay. So
well, you got this. Well, it's always good to know people in the right places.
But also, let's be honest,
in quote unquote high places.
And that's right.
In the skies.
Are you part of the Sky
Mile High Club?
So,
Mile High Club?
long story short,
Don't
Yes
make it
or
short,
no?
please.
No, don't make it
Elaborate.
the answer is no.
Tommy doesn't like short.
But I have plans for the return flight.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully those plans will materialize. So for travelers that are going, planning to travel, packing tips. What do you do as a means to prepare yourself for a trip? Are you one of those that just shoves everything in the suitcase and just goes? Do you fold everything neatly? Do you organize? Do you pack your clothes like days in advance like I did? I was packed a week and a half.
I usually pack about a week and a half prior.
No, I'll pack. I'll probably pack Friday, Saturday. I'm going to do laundry Friday. I'm going shopping tomorrow because I need to get a few things, like a couple shirts, a couple shorts. Everything is very neat in my suitcase. My problem is I always bring too much, like too many shoes.
That you never wear?
No, I always find
a way to wear them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But my main thing is I always bring at least one or two nice outfits if we go to dinner. Most everything else, depending on where I'm going, Hawaii specifically, is probably 2 swimsuits and mostly casual clothes.
Okay. And, you're a person that really follows a very, very specific skincare regimen, right? You're constantly, making sure that you're on top of your face and your body, etc. Given that they have a very limited amount of ounces that you can actually pass through on carry-ons, you can probably check it. Do you prepare, or do you go nuts buying smaller versions of all your favorite things? How do you manage the guidelines set by the TSA?
So the products that I use are in jars that are FDA approved already.
Okay.
And the quantity in the jar is also FDA approved, but the amount of product, because of the product that I use, the amount of product that I use daily is very, very small. Do you know what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
So it's not a lot in the jar, but it lasts me 3 to 4.5 months.
Okay. And then do you, for example, ask for a complimentary warm towel when you're on the fly and sort of kind of
No, I don't really like to interact.
And rub one off under your blanket.
I literally, you know me.
Well, FYI, you can bring your own nips on the
Yes.
flight, right?
I'm not going to this time. Sometimes I've done that before, but like I'm flying with my best friend's family, and it just feels like a little like, okay, I'm sitting next to my best friend's mom. I'm gonna just pop one off.
Pop one off.
Like,
I
Like,
hope
hey
you sit
Muriel,
next to
you
your
want?
best
Yeah.
friend.
Hey Muriel, you
she's-
want a
so-
shot?
So my best friend is on a separate flight.
Oh,
I'm on a flight
with the family.
with her family.
Holy shit.
Yeah, but we're all getting there around the same time.
Gotcha. I was gonna be like, that's mighty awkward.
No. I'm really close with the family. That this is the family that when I got kicked out of my home, when I came out of the closet, they took me and I lived with them for months. They really became my second home, and I got Lori one year for Mother's Day a gift, and I had it engraved, and it said, what did it say? It was home is where the heart is, and my heart belongs here.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Was this the one that I met at Gala last year?
No, that's
Okay.
Matt's mom.
Okay. Sorry. All right. So to summarize, don't be afraid to keep your routine. Take it with you. If you're traveling, be mindful of the sizes because again, there are regulations and things like that you need to follow. Be smart like Nick and get TSA pre-check, right? Pack 2 days before. Overpacking is a thing. It's going to happen, but leave room for things that you're going to buy there to bring back.
Well, also, it's for me for this trip. Normally, I'm leaving from my house. I'm going straight to the airport. But because I'm driving to a hotel the night before and I'm staying over, I have to be ready to go. Right. And it's not like I have to get to the hotel at any like specific time.
Right.
So there's no real pressure.
Right.
So it'll be fine. Even if I have to do some laundry on Sunday.
Yeah. And, I find, like, for me, like, I made a little checklist of things that I absolutely wanted to do. And so one of those, obviously, make sure you have your identification. You need your driver's license. You need either your driver's license, passport, whatever it is that you need to go to and from. It's a transcontinental airline, but flight, but because you're going from a U.S. territory into a U.S. territory, you don't need a passport to go to Hawaii. But you may want to bring it. You just never know. And just make sure that, you check your flight status the day before you're ready to leave because you never know if there's storms, there might be delays.
Being so negative.
I'm just saying.
I travel all the time. It is fine.
Yes. But that's what I'm trying to get at. I'm trying to give our listeners tips on how to travel well, right? Without having to go through the stressful things that we've all gone through. How do you minimize the stress?
You got to buy the anal tushy, the travel anal tushy.
And take that with you.
Fuck yeah.
See, now you have a suitcase big enough to bring your travel one with you.
I could that suitcase. I could bring the actual one.
Exactly.
They go through TSA. What the fuck is this?
That's amazing.
That's my tushy.
Yeah. So just, do your due diligence and also, keep in mind some of the recent regulations that have been passed by the Biden administration and the transportation, the Federal Transportation Authority or the FAA.
Yes.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
The FAA. So new regulations go into effect, I believe, starting sometime in late June, right before July 1st, where if your flight is canceled and the flight does not, the airline doesn't give you enough time, they have to refund you your money, not give you a voucher or miles or none of that. Your money, if your luggage is
you're
delayed,
entitled to cash.
a cash
compensation.
refund. It's going to be
spot.
and airlines have to now make sure that they spell out.
That's gonna be interesting when they have one of those major issues. How they're gonna have? They're not gonna have enough cash on hand.
Yeah, well,
They could probably do a gift card or something.
no, they have to give you your money back in the form in which you paid.
Oh, so most people pay with card anyway.
Right. Yeah. So it'll be either refunded to your credit card or they might give you, cash at wherever.
It's like when you go to a hotel, you can't pay. Well, some hotels maybe, but you can't pay for, a hotel with cash anymore. You have to have a credit card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even like when you go pick up a rental car, like you can't even use a debit card. You have to have a credit card.
Actually, in Puerto Rico, you can.
Well, that checks out.
Don't ask me why I know that. I mean, I used my credit card that gives me like massive points for rentals, but but just know your rights as a consumer, as a flyer. Things are changing, so if you're flying anytime after the month of June, and you happen to run into some issues, just be aware of what the new regulations are and what you're entitled to, because don't let airlines fool you into thinking that you have to accept what it is that they offer you as a means of compensation for lack of keeping up with a schedule.
That kind of makes sense because they've increased the prices on the stuff they used to offer before as well.
Yeah, it's insane.
Like I know there's when you're purchasing the tickets, they have that insurance in case of cancellations. It used to be like $10.
Yeah.
Now it's 50.
Yeah, but now you don't need it because if they cancel, you get your money back regardless.
Yeah. So
even if you buy a non-refundable ticket, you're getting your money back if your flight's canceled.
Oh, my ticket's refundable just
Right.
because I booked it on a whim.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know if this is going to work.
Yeah. So, but but that's what I mean. So, like, for example, if you're going away and you miss your flight, then you paid for that insurance and you get your money back, right? But if they cancel your flight, you don't need that insurance to be able to get your money back now. It's going to be glorious.
I wonder if you pay the insurance, because usually you're doing it through a website.
Right.
Does that mean the website has to refund you the money, and so does the airlines?
I don't know. So see,
That's a double dipping.
So this is what you really have to make sure that you educate yourself on when you're traveling, because you just never know.
Yeah.
But I'm not anticipating anything's going to happen. You're going to go. You're going to have a great
She'll
time.
be
You're going to
fine.
come
She's
back,
gonna come back
with a
3 months
tan,
pregnant.
3 months pregnant, with a big butthole and all that good stuff, and hopefully
Yeah.
it'll be fabulous.
Just coconuts falling out.
Exactly. Just gonna walk up in here. It was like, oh, did you say you wanted an orchid? There you go.
There you go.
It's been fertilized.
Wow.
But anyway, on that note, I want to thank you for sticking with us through the first half. We've got the dish coming up. We're going to take a break, and we will be right back. All right, ladies and gents, welcome back from the break. Thank you. We needed that to just sort of kind of recompose ourselves before we jump into the dish portion of our show. And I'm just going to dive right in. So if you are a fan of the Tonys, which is coming up now in the month of June shortly, then you're in for a treat, especially if you're a member of the LGBTQ plus community.
I am.
I am. Is you?
Tony?
Are you?
Yes, you've been with a Tony. We know.
No.
Oh.
Which Tony?
Get off the videos. The Tonys, the Tony Awards.
Oh, okay.
It's theater's biggest night, right? And this year they have more individuals nominated in the queer community than ever.
Which is surprising because it's the Tonys.
Exactly, right? It's like every gay icon that has ever existed has graced or won a Tony.
But Daniel Radcliffe isn't gay.
He's not gay, but he's a big supporter of the gay community. And I there's another story that I want to talk about after about that.
Did you ever see the photos from Equus?
Yes.
Okay, anyway.
Yes. So can we talk about that a little bit? So Daniel Radcliffe was in a
Harry Potter.
in a play, and it was called Equus, right? And
About the
where
horse?
he was full frontal nude, right? And I've seen the pictures, but I quite found it disturbing because I grew up watching this little boy being Harry Potter in all of, the iterations of the movies as he's grown up with that series. I mean, there were, 8 movies?
See.
Mm-hmm.
Right? For Harry Potter, not including Fantastic Beast. And while he's an extremely handsome man, because let's face it, he is a grown man now. You can actually say he's a handsome man. I still see him as that little boy. Yes, I know. I
mean,
I still see him as that little boy. And for me, it was just like, okay, yes, I can appreciate the male physique. He's a beautiful man, has a beautiful penis. But it's still Harry Potter. And it's almost like me, objectifying my nephews or my nieces. right? That kind of feeling, because I grew up with Harry Potter. I mean, I didn't grow up with Harry Potter.
I did too.
Like I didn't grow up with Harry Potter because I'm old enough to be probably his father. How would I say? He grew up before our eyes, right? And yeah, I don't know. I feel a little weird of objectifying that picture, however good it looks. What are your thoughts on it?
I don't feel weird about it.
Have you seen it? Did you share it with Jay?
Yeah.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I found it.
What are your thoughts on that?
To me, I mean, honestly, I live in a very sex positive home.
Okay,
So-
which is good. Listen, I'm not shaming anybody.
No, not at all. He's sexy. I mean, he's got a nice body, and
He is.
he stands out.
He does stand out.
Stand
And
out.
He got. It's like that wine we were talking about. Better with age.
Better with age.
better, except that he's not bitter and he's not in a dark room and
You don't
being
know his
forgotten.
life.
Oh, honey, he's Daniel Radcliffe.
He's a sexy man. I mean,
Yeah,
and
he
I
is.
understand.
Yeah,
We when we first saw him in the Harry Potter
Harry Potter and-
Chronicles
and the Sorcerer's
yeah,
Stone.
yeah, he was definitely he was a little kid, but even
Right.
at that, I mean, we've basically have seen him grow
Right.
into
Right.
the young man he is now. You have to give credit where credit is due.
Oh,
I don't feel weird about it.
You definitely have to give him credit.
I would
mean,
feel weird if somebody was,
Here's
that,
my thing. It's like
that young kid looks hot. You know what I mean?
I love an uncut cock. So like,
it's a very impressive penis.
he's beautiful.
He's a beautiful young man, and listen, more power to you.
He was
but
probably like Engorgio.
he probably uses wand to just be like, be beautiful. Be beautiful, be uncut, and be thick. There you go.
Yeah.
But anyway, we digress from that
Wow,
conversation
left field.
quickly.
Sorry, guys.
So coming back to the Oscars, so the 77th, the Tonys, the 77th Tony Awards are scheduled to take place on Sunday, June 16th, at the Lincoln Center's David H. Koch. I'm gonna say Koch. And not Cock Theater in New York City. The 2024 Tonys will be broadcasted on CBS, and for the third consecutive year, queer superstar Ariana DeBose will host the ceremonies. The Broadway productions that were eligible to receive nominations at the 2024 Tony Awards took place between April 28th, 2023 and April 25th of 2024, which means they just closed like 6 days ago. So without further ado, let's break down all of this year's Tony Award nominees along with the standout LGBTQ plus nominations. Let's see. We've got Hell's Kitchen. Nominations for Best Musicals: Hell's Kitchens, Illinois, The Outsiders, Suffs, and Water for Elephants. Interesting. Okay. 2024 nominees for Best Play is Jaja's African Hair Braiding, Mary Jane, Mother Play, Player for the French Republic, and Stereophonics. The Best Revival of a Musical, Cabaret at the Kit Kat Club, Gutenberg, the musical, Merrily We Roll Around, and
Roll
Along, excuse me, and Who's Tommy?
She's always thinking about rolling around.
So
somewhere,
Who's
isn't
Tommy
she?
is great. I think in this category, Merrily We Roll Along is going to win.
Yeah, and what about for the category for Best Play?
Honestly, for Best Play, I'm not sure, but for what was it that you said?
So we have Jaja's African Hair Braiding, Mary Jane, Mother Play, Prayer for the French Republic, and Stereophonics, which are all for Best Play. And then for Best Musical, Hell's Kitchen, Illinois.
I think The Outsiders are going to
The Outsiders. Yeah.
Yep.
These are predictions, and Nick is in the business, so I trust that he knows what he's talking about. Let's take a look at what else we have here. Best 2024 nominees for Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Musical. You've got Brody Grant, Jonathan Groff, Dorian Harewood, Brian Darcy James, and Eddie Redmayne.
That, I think, is going to Jonathan Groff.
Tell me why.
I think he's just, honestly, there's this like level of he's earned it. And also his performance in the show is fantastic. And the show is getting so much buzz. So I think it's time for him to get a little love. All
right. Well, hopefully Jonathan will get his love. So as far as best performances by an actress in a leading role or in a play, it's Betsy Adam, Jessica Lange.
This one's tough.
That's a shocker for me. Rachel McAdams. You have Sarah Paulson and Amy Ryan. I don't know.
Honestly, between Rachel and Sarah and Jess, this one's hard to call.
And then best performance by an actor in a featured role in a play, Will Brill, Ellie Gelb. We have Jim Parsons. If you don't know, I believe he's from
Big
Bang Theory.
Yep.
And Tom Pasinka and Corey Stoll. I don't know him.
I don't know. This one's tough, but the fact that there are 3 people nominated from Stereophonic, I feel like Stereophonic's going to sweep a little bit here.
And then, obviously, we're not going to go through all of these. Best performance by an actor in a featured role in a musical. That would be Roger Bart, Joshua Boone, Brandon Victor Dixon, Sky Lakota Lynch, Daniel Radcliffe, who we just talked about.
I have a weird feeling that merrily we roll along, The Outsiders and Stereophonic are going to be sweeping. I think the Who's Tommy has a chance, but I also have heard things along the ways of it's the revival no one ever wanted. Not it's the revival we never knew we wanted.
Gotcha.
So like it's great, but
I love how when you talk about theater, look, he's perked up. She's ready to go. It's a good thing. I'm not shaming you.
Okay.
It's very rare when I see you like, oh my God, I know this.
Gay stuff.
Yeah. No, but the interesting thing is that, like you mentioned, a lot of gay people are in theater. Mm-hmm. Right? Like aside from, because tell me if I'm wrong when I say this, but theater predominantly it was a Jewish thing. A lot of Jewish composers, a lot of Jewish people like started the producers, the theater thing, right? Yeah. And so it's either a Jewish man or gay people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to comment on the Jewish thing, but what I will say
is that
a lot of producers have a lot of money,
right?
And a lot of those producers happen to be Jewish,
right?
And those producers invest in said shows.
Which is great and amazing.
Yeah.
Right? Because it brings us, what do you always say about theater? It's an opportunity to bring community together in a common space and, shared
experience and story.
Which is great and amazing. So the fact that, for decades, we know that it's a very gay dominated forum, right? Theater, honestly, Broadway, Tonys.
Honestly, I tend to think that the reason for that is in a creative space or in a space of art or artistic creativity, the welcoming of all voices is so different than in your heteronormative space or like your corporate space, right? So
right.
In that sense, we find family and find comfort in the fact that, well, at least the gay community, right? In the fact that we're wanted, we're heard, and we're valued.
Right.
And I think that's why there's a lot of LGBTQ plus people in the arts, because it's a creative, welcoming space. And yeah, I don't know.
I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense. But it also makes me proud to see that, you know, we have a lot of queer artists and queer talent that is being nominated for a lot of these awards, because it also gives us an opportunity to showcase the fact that, you know, in a time in a time in place in where we are facing, you know, backlash and pushback from very conservative types of individuals in a variety of spaces towards the LGBTQ plus community. It's good to see that even on a primetime show that airs, you know, nationally or even internationally, that you have still gay people that have the power and the stage to go on and be authentically themselves and be who they are, and still represent our community in such a way that, you know, still gives us a powerful voice in the face of adversity and pushback, which is, I think, the point of the story that they were outlining is, you know, we're going through it as a community, but we still have many opportunities in different you know, venues in where we can go and still reaffirm that we're here, we're queer, and we're not going anywhere.
What I will say, though,
Yes.
if you are ready for some strong ass speeches from the winners, watch the Tonys. If you are liberal in any way or hate Donald Trump, you're gonna get some feedback, because yes, they're gonna thank all the people they want to thank, but they're gonna have
I think, and especially in you know, this is an election year, so
Yeah,
it's going to be very political in nature. And you'll see probably that those that, for example, do numbers, or people that are doing, like, you know, opening numbers, will probably incorporate some sort of funny, satirical, you know, things related to the former hashtag not my president, right? And it's crazy. So, Jay, question for you. Have you welcome back to the show. Welcome back to Earth, bitch.
Thank you for joining us.
Put that phone down. A question for you.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything in theater?
I have seen. Damn, it's been a while. I have. I just offhand nothing within the past 10 years.
Okay, well,
It's been.
it's
been a
okay.
while.
It's okay.
It's been a while.
You know,
you're forgiven.
You're forgiven.
but believe it or not, you know.
Yeah, I think actually the last event that I attended was at the Schubert. So.
Was I with you?
No.
No, okay. So, being very honest with you, you know, theater, aside from a very few like Lin-Manuel Miranda and a couple of other people, theater is not a thing for Puerto Ricans. It's not a big thing, right?
No, yeah.
For a lot of Puerto Ricans, unfortunately, because I think that they would benefit so much from being exposed and having that experience.
Not true. Not true. Maybe not in Connecticut.
Okay, so
In New York City, that's a different story. So, and I speak that I know from experience. I know a lot of people that definitely did the theater thing. I just was never interested growing up.
right.
But I also think that there's another level there, right? So I think that the reason we see, sorry guys, but for lack of a better term, marginalized communities, not necessarily as engaged in theater and or the arts, is because for a long time access wasn't available.
Not only was it available, but there's also
communities.
lack of interest because of the fact that, you know, we don't see a lot of roles and where we see ourselves represented.
Right. And on top of that, you also, there's this concept of, oh, well, that's like lily white. That's not for us. And that's totally changing, right? So barriers are being broken down. Access is being created. And like I said in the interview today, I mean, like, we see the excitement when we go into schools and we're bringing these kids to see 1, 2, 3 Andreas, which is a trilingual show. It's both Spanish, English, and sign, you know? So going into these schools and seeing these kids have these books read to them, and then they hear their story being told because it's in their language, and then they come to the theater and see a show that's not English, but it's bilingual, right? And so they can not only understand the English, but then relate to their own language, realizing that the arts is for everyone, right?
Right.
So I think that yes, there has been a fucking road that this country has walked, that a lot of countries have walked, when it comes to repression, even in the arts, right? So right now, the big push and the big thing that everybody's trying to do, including the Schubert Theater, is finding ways to create more access, because at the end of the day, we have to cover the bottom line to present this work, right? We have to find a way to cover the bottom line, but we want to find ways to create access so that all of these individuals have the ability to at least experience theater once in their life.
Right.
So I lied. Actually, I just recalled I did watch an off-Broadway play about a year or two ago, if I'm not mistaken.
Did you now?
It's called La Gringa, which is a it's Spanglish actually, but mainly in Spanish, which was by, I had to look it up real quick because I can't remember. It's by Carmen Rivera, and it's basically a play about a Spanish girl that was raised in the U.S., travels to Puerto Rico to visit family, and she's kind of like rediscovering herself.
Right.
And then of course, it's
And
atypical of Puerto Rico.
Right.
Every time somebody grows up in the States and you visit, you're automatically el gringo or la gringa.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're the white kid visiting.
Literally, that's the first thing that I heard when I landed on the island. I got off. Oh, you're a gringo, huh? You come from the States. And I'm like, sí, pero pendejo, yo hablo español.
Yeah, but I mean, like, still at the same time, like, you're not wrong when you were saying, like, we don't see ourselves represented on the stage.
We don't.
Like, we were talking. I did that one podcast, we've talked about it before, where I was feeling burnt out by theater. I didn't know if that was something I wanted to continue to pursue. And then I saw this beautiful play about this gay couple, and I was like, oh my God, this is the power of theater. This is what theater can do.
Yeah.
Right.
And it literally, it bridges gaps between communities, it bridges gaps between cultures, and it gives people the, ability to empathize with one another and connect with individuals and communities in a deeper way.
Right. For me, one of my first experiences with theater is I went to a school for the performing arts. So I went to Enrico Fermi School for the Performing Arts in New York. And I was there between first, second, third, fourth grade. And part of the programming and the teaching in the school is theater and play as part of their programming. And I was in a play, and then we had an opportunity to actually go to a stage on Broadway. I can't remember what theater it was, where it was, but our teacher took us, and we actually performed our play on stage, and I didn't think that theater was the thing for me. Like, I played a drunk in one of our school plays, right? And they gave me like, do you remember the beer?
Typical day.
I think it was called Lowenbraun or something like that.
Lowenbraun.
Yeah. So
German beer.
they gave me an empty bottle. They took the label off, and I walked into the auditorium of the school drinking water and pretending I was drunk. And evidently I was a smash because people were laughing so hard. That this little gay boy just walked in sashaying with a little beer bottle of what's supposed to be beer. And that was my first taste of
the limelight.
The limelight. But for me, it wasn't about acting. I've always gravitated towards music. And I was very fortunate enough to have, been exposed to different variations of the arts in this school. And then I moved to Puerto Rico, and then I came back, and then I went somewhere else, and it's been a nightmare. But my very first musical that I ever got to actually see on Broadway was Cats.
Oof.
And I remember being enthralled by the costumes and seeing all of the this magic happen on stage. I didn't understand three shits what they were singing about, what they were talking about, until the song Memory came on, and I just gravitated to that song. And but that was my first experience. And then later on, as I grew older, like I remember seeing, for example, The Lion King on Broadway, seeing things like Wicked, and so I've had an opportunity to go and sit. I had an opportunity to go and share a play, numerous plays at Longworth Theater, thanks to you. And I find it very entertaining and being able to actually lose yourself for a couple of hours in someone else's story and someone else's vision. But it's not something that when I was growing up that I immediately had access to or seen anything that would interest me.
Yeah.
Where I saw myself.
And that's why, like, I pride myself on the work we do to create access. But I have a quiz for both of you.
Okay.
Where does the term limelight come from?
Limelight. I have no idea. You? I mean, did anybody squeeze a lemon into like a tequila or something?
No. So what it actually was in the 1800s when they didn't have electricity, they used to heat these cylinders full of a mineral called lime.
Okay.
Which spewed out almost green light. And that was how they lit the stage. So all the on the foot of the stage, you know how you see, you know, footlights?
Yes.
Those were cylinders of lime that were heated and gave off this green glow to light the stage at night.
So everybody pretty much looked like Shrek on stage.
Kind of.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's awesome, though. You know, they had a bar named Limelight, right?
Yeah, he
It
probably.
was a club
It was a club, actually, in a church.
in the church
That checks out.
in New York City.
In New York City, they converted it from, well, once the church actually closed, they took that church and converted it into a humongous club. And the dance floor. So when you walked into the Limelight, you didn't know whether you should start dancing or get down on your knees and start praying. Because you still had all the stained glass, right? All the religious stained glass in the bar. It was a gay bar.
Yeah.
It was glorious. It had all these different rooms, and it was just.
Now I think it's a retail store.
I thought it turned into like a
If
farmer's
the
market or
walls
something.
could talk.
Oh, so when I heard that they opened up a
I
farmer's
think there's more
market.
stories before it became. No, shut up.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
There was a reason it closed.
Before they opened up the farmer's market, all I kept thinking to myself when they announced it, I was like, oh my God, I hope they disinfected all the walls in that bar, in that club. Because I remember I used to go into this in the 90s. I used to go to like, it was Limelight, the Tunnel, and the Roxy.
And the Roxy.
That was the place to be.
Roxy.
Um,
Heart.
And if you went to Queens, Crash.
Club Crash, yes.
So remember they had all the pictures of the wife of Frankenstein on the walls. Huge.
Yeah, I remember it
Huge.
was
Huge.
yeah, it was huge. All right, Donald. It was in Astoria, Queens, and you had to like go over the Bruckner Bridge, the Bruckner Express Bridge, and then you got
Always had a drag queen in your trunk.
that actually we came from that bar. Yeah, Chantal, we came from that bar from Crash in Queens, and it was always it was always amazing, always a good time. God, I miss those days. And then there was Escuelita,
La Escuelita.
right? It was.
If you've never been groped, I had never been groped at a bar until La Escuelita.
What I mean,
And I went to a hell of a lot of bars.
so I have a love-hate relationship with drag queens, and that's because of Angel Sheridan. So she was the host of the drag shows at Escuelita. And when I tell you, these drag queens were amazing. Almost all of them, actually one, Kateria Regis, ended up being one of the contestants at the beginning of Tu Wong Fu.
Yep.
She was casted as a member. And interestingly enough, so when the shows would start, people would sit Indian style on the stage while these ladies were performing. They were gorgeous. And when I tell you gorgeous, and all of a sudden the host comes out and, hi, I'm Angel Sheridan, blah, blah, blah. She starts cracking jokes. People are laughing. Everyone's having a good time. And then she walks towards me. Mind you, I'm sitting Indian style. I was a little skinny mini little bitch. And
Yes, she
as
was.
soon as she walks towards me, she gets feedback on the microphone. And she looks at me and goes, bitch, close your legs. You're giving me feedback.
Is that why you say that shit all the time?
I was mortified.
You would always say that when we would do karaoke. Close your legs. You're giving me feedback.
So I was traumatized. I never approached drag queens again. For like a very long time. That bitch traumatized me. And I actually, I found her on Facebook and we connected and I told her that story. I was like, you traumatized me for a very long time. Like because I was such
So young and gullible
and bashful.
and full of cum.
Exactly.
Yes. Well,
Yeah,
now
no,
you know.
she traumatized the fuck out of me. That's the whole reason why I was like, I was scared of drag queens for a long time because I didn't want to be anywhere near the stage after that. I was like, I'm not going over there. I'm gonna sit back
Sit
here
in
and
the
drink my drinks, and they can do whatever they want. I don't care.
Proud of you.
So, but anyway, the Tonys happening June.
Yeah,
a lot of gay people.
We beat that story to death.
Support. And of course, speaking of Daniel Radcliffe, do you have anything you want to talk about, by the way?
No, I mean, sort of, kind of. Yeah.
Okay, why don't you go first? Then we'll.
I mean, does this one kind of feed into the other one? And then we can close out.
It feeds into the fact that Daniel Radcliffe, as we know, played Harry Potter for a very long time. On the heels of books that were written by J.K. Rowling, and for the first time, Daniel Radcliffe has actually come out and commented on the fact that this author is really going after trans folks,
which is really interesting to me, honestly, because if you read her books or if you actually lean into any of the stories, and then if you dig into the history of Grindelwald and all that stuff, there's a lot of gay themes,
and I don't think that's what she has an issue with. She truly, I don't think she has a problem with gay men or gay women. I think she has a problem with trans people.
I think she's just a white woman that doesn't understand it, and so she keeps saying the wrong fucking thing.
She
understands
over and over
it.
again. She's
When you continuously make the same mistake over and over again, it's not a mistake.
It's
on
purposeful.
purpose. It's purposeful.
I mean, honestly, I just wish if somebody has issues with.
I'd love to give her the benefit of a doubt, but at this point, she knows what the fuck she's doing. I mean, granted, we have conversations sometimes, and we'll say something, and it doesn't come out the way you expect it to.
Oh yeah,
and then you're like, shit. Let me backtrack. But if you continue to do that every time we podcast, you're no longer needing to apologize. You just mean what you mean.
Yeah, I agree. I just wish that people that don't understand it and then continually come out against it. I wish people would just take a moment and literally do some deep diving into Native American culture, because in a Native American culture, gender isn't pushed upon anyone, right? So you're while yes, you are born with genitalia, they allow their children to grow up and identify as they feel they should, right? And they'd always had a third and in some cases fourth gender, which I think is so beautiful, and I think we can learn so much from it.
Well, there's actually in Mexico, there's the third gender, which is basically trans, pretty much. But they, men that live as women, and damn, I forgot what they're called. They have a specific name for them.
Well, I know that was it Two-Spirited?
No, Two-Spirited is Native American.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, I mean, while you look that up, I mean, interestingly enough, it's the actor, speaking to the Atlantic, Radcliffe, who just received his first Tony nomination for his turn in Broadway musical Merrily We Roll Along, affirmed that he would continue to support the rights of all LGBTQ plus people in light of this author's persistent, because this is not a random thing. I mean, we're going on the better part of over 10 years where this woman has been making remarks on and off on the trans community, and you're like,
that long.
Oh, yes, it has. I mean, think about it. When did the first Fantastic Beasts movie come out?
It's been a while.
Yeah. I mean, we're in 2024. So, I mean, when you think about it, somewhere around either 2014, 2015, it's not too long ago. She has been, in the negative spotlight for her comments. So it's been 8-9 years.
Yep.
It's it's disturbing because, like you said, when you read these books, when you read the body of work that this woman, this amazing magical world that she's created, she created a space for a lot of different characters, for a lot of different people, for a lot of different races and creatures, right? And you think of Dobby, and you think about, you know, all of these other amazing characters that were created as part of this amazing world. And out of all things, she can't fit in her little chilly heart room or space for trans people.
But there's also like this whole element within the world, right? You have muggles and mudbloods, right?
Right.
And so there are levels of marginalizing people that I think tell an even deeper story about the society that we live in, right?
Right.
So people with power marginalize muggles, the people that don't have power,
Right.
and attack directly mudbloods who are people that have power but they're afraid of.
Right.
So like it's this weird dichotomy of like, it's really an expression of the way we live in the world today.
Right.
If people have power and you're afraid of them, you put them
Right.
down.
Right.
If people don't have power, then you just denigrate them.
Right.
And you use them as scapegoats.
And you have the capacity to write characters and different things, like, for example, what do you call the man that's half horse, half man? Sentient or something like Centaur, right? So you can write, you can, you know, sit here and write a story or write a character about a centaur, half man, half horse, right? Which in reality is not a real thing.
You don't know that.
Right. We don't know that. Maybe in our dreams. So you can write about the possibility of having mixed, you know, creatures per se. But so you can visualize that.
Species.
Right. Like you can conceptualize the fact that you can think in a way that you have a man that is half man, half horse, but you can't wrap your head around someone trying to fight for their identity based on who they feel like inside versus what they look like outside.
Yeah,
right.
That's a good point.
I find it disturbing. But anyway, the whole point is that, you know, for the most part, Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson, who played Hermione, have stayed out of this conversation. They really haven't said anything publicly about it. Don't know why. It's really not important, but he finally did it. And he came out and
Well, they're about to do another movie, so.
And, you know, will they be in it? Who knows?
Maybe not.
But in the end, you know, it's just a matter of, come on, JK. You gave us such a gift. You gave the world such a gift. Make a little bit of room for people who you could potentially embrace.
Yeah, don't ruin it.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's that. So what do you got for me, darling?
All right, so in semi-lighter news, along the same lines, the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the EEOC, the primary federal agency that enforces employment anti-discrimination laws, has updated federal workplace guidelines to protect transgender workers from transphobic harassment like misgendering or denial of bathroom access. The new guidelines, the first issued by the EEOC in 25 years, define such harassment as a form of sexual-based discrimination under the title, I think I'm going to screw it up, Title VII, is that 5, 6, 7?
That's Title 12.
12?
Yeah,
Okay.
10 is V. No, Title 7.
Title
5, 6, 7.
Okay,
yes.
yeah. So, yeah.
Sorry.
So
numbers are hard, especially when they're in
Roman
letters.
numerals, yeah. Title 7 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, a federal law against workplace discrimination. The new guidelines, which also, big deal, which also forbid harassment against people who are pregnant, have just birthed a child, are breastfeeding, chest feeding, or have had an abortion, go into effect immediately. While they aren't legally binding, they are still present as a legal framework of a workplace standards for employers, employees, courts, and agencies that handle harassment claims, the EEOC wrote. A Monday statement announced the new guidelines the new guideline cites that the 2020 Supreme Court decision in Boxstock versus Clayton County, a case that defined anti-LGBTQ plus workplace discrimination, a form of sex-based harassment. Sex-based harassment includes harassment based on sexual orientation or gender identity, including how identity is expressed. The guidelines definition of the harassment includes insulting remarks about others, physical assault, forced outing, misgendering, and denying access to sex-segregated facilities like bathrooms or locker rooms. The EEOC developed the new guidelines after receiving input from public civil rights and workers' rights organizations, unions, employer and human resources representatives, scholars, and attorneys representing plaintiffs and defendants in employment discrimination matters. So, yeah, and as they commemorate their 60th anniversary of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the guidelines will help raise awareness about the serious problem of harassment in employment and laws protections for those who experience it in the workplace.
Right. Which is
Awesome.
That's amazing. It's amazing. But, now you know what that requires? It requires buy-in. Because you can have all these recommendations from all these agencies, but
But it's still a huge statement.
it's a huge statement. It's massive.
And if you are working for a company that hasn't bought into this, change by the EEOC, you have a leg to stand on.
You do, but what if you live in a red state? That's the problem, right? So you don't have a problem if you live in California, if you live in Connecticut, if you live in Massachusetts, New York, or if you live in Colorado, or if you live, in states that tend to lean towards supporting these types of initiatives and these mandates. But it is these red states that immediately you'll have that one Karen, and I'm sorry if your name is Karen,
Or
but
Ken.
or Ken, or that one Karen or Ken that, oh my God, my child could potentially be exposed to, may never.
Well, you're not wrong, because already conservatives and religious groups have already criticized the new guidelines. Representative Virginia Fox, Republican out of North Carolina, said in a statement on Monday that the EEOC had detached itself from reality to appease a mob of leftist activists who want Americans to conform to their warped political ideology. From the mandated use of pronouns to denial of biological facts, the EEOC seems to more interested in appeasing the mob than undertaking common sense policy making to protect workers, Fox wrote. File this away as another item in the long list of failures superheaded by this agency. Fox called the 1998 slaying of young gay man Matthew Shepard a hoax. So we already know this fucking douchebag doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Right.
That wasn't a hoax. And voted against the domestic violence bill because it included LGBTQ plus protections and was one of 157 Republicans who voted against the Respect for Marriage Act.
Listen, and we're not asking for much. I'm not asking you to change your beliefs for anything. Here's what you can do with your beliefs. When you're within your four walls, you can say the N-word, say the F-word, do whatever you want in your own motherfucking house. When you're in a public space, respect.
Yep.
That's all we're asking for. When you're in a public space, your right should not be infringed, just like mine should not be infringed to exist. To be able to go to a bathroom without being without the fear of being, felt uncomfortable or made feel inferior or made
Or
feel like I'm not
harassed.
human or
Yeah,
harassed.
yeah.
Like, I talked about this, interestingly enough, that we've had this initiative for a very long time to really focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion in our workforce. And one of the first stunning things that I said in one of the meetings that we had when we were cultivating the many different BRG groups that we have in our office was the fact that, I work with a lot of males in a very male-dominated, machista-dominated area of our company, right? I'm in operations, and so you have a lot of linemen. You have a lot of people that, tend to be very macho and blah, blah, blah. And
You love every minute of it.
I do love every minute of it because it's eye candy, but that's not the point. The point is that when I go to the bathroom, I'm not there to tie you down from top to bottom. I'm not there to do anything to you. I'm not there to like rape you. I'm not there to like harass you or molest you. I'm there to relieve myself, just like you. And when you walk into a bathroom, because this happened to me many times, like I remember where, for example, I would go. We only have 2 stalls in each bathroom in floors 1, 2, and 3, and so that means 6 people can be using the toilet, not the urinals, the toilets, at the same time in a building with over 1,400 people, right? So that's it, just 6 people. And then downstairs, they have the big locker rooms, and there's like 12 stalls in those bathrooms. There's a lot of bathrooms. So
And showers.
when you have to run to the bathroom and they're full, you go downstairs and you walk in, and 5 men walk out of the bathroom because you walked in. That makes you feel kind of fucking sucky, right? And they were shocked. They were like, "Oh my God, that happened to you? Why didn't you report that?" I'm like, "Why should I? I don't want to get anybody fired. I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but that's my experience at work. What we should do is educate people and say, that's not something that you need to do. You shouldn't have to worry about that. Not him, nor do you guys. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's kind of fucked up that that's how we work in a society. But it is what it is. But initiatives like this help. But it only helps, and it can only be successful if there's buy-in from the majority of the American people.
Well, I also think, and I know we have to wrap it up, but I also think that this is why the work that Dr. G is doing, trying to find ways to educate the younger generation in spaces that are safe, is so important, because I think that stems from a lack of education.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think it's just,
Because
we need to do better with that.
I'm sure those men aren't, anti-gay or dislike you in any way. Maybe some of them are, but at the end of the day, there's something about what they grew up hearing and learning that made them uncomfortable and wanting to leave the space.
Right. It's like, why did you leave?
Yeah. And again, we also have to remember we don't necessarily know everybody's experiences
Right.
in the past, and there may be traumas that are associated with some people's actions.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I don't want to infer anything, but it's,
I mean, it happens, and unfortunately, it is what it is. But yeah, it does occur. But before we finish off on this, I was telling you guys the Mexico's third gender.
Third gender, it is.
So it is a third gender. So in Tehuantepec, a town in the Mexican state of Oaxaca, there is a community that lives, and they're called muses. So Muxes. So muses is a third gender. It's men that live and dress as women, but they don't identify other than as a muse. And that's how they live their lifestyle. So they live beyond the gender binary. A musa is an individual assigned male at birth who behaves outside their traditional male roles associated with the masculinity. Sometimes referred to as a third gender, musa's identity predates Spanish imperialism in the Zapotec region. For Lucas, which is one of the guys, they did a whole series on this, and I watched it. That's why I was trying to remember. It's really interesting. They dress, they make their own dresses. They make, just like a lot of Mexican, people in the areas, they make their own clothes.
Right.
And they make clothing, and they make the strings and the fabric in order to make the clothing, and they sell the clothing as well.
That's amazing.
So, it's really good. If you ever
it's
get a
interesting
chance to
that you say muses with an X, right?
Yeah.
Because then it makes sense how, for example, in the past, decade, you have people, for example, using, instead of Latino or Latina, Latinx.
Latinx, yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm thinking maybe they borrowed
Probably
the X from, these sort of like instances or
Maybe.
examples of different cultures using, a third gender.
Identity, yeah.
That's awesome.
Gender, yeah.
That's awesome.
So, and I know we always, when we discuss that, we always talk about, with the Native American, it's, two-spirited.
Right.
And again, in Mexico, you also see this, and
Right. I mean, it's a very common thing in a lot of different,
Yep.
cultures. It's
Yep.
just a matter of identifying it and
like,
finding the links.
finding
right?
yeah.
What
It
are
all
the
ties in at
similarities?
some point,
Exactly.
It all ties in at some point or at some region. There's that connection
Right.
that usually comes up. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. So definitely a good watch.
Send me the link, and then
Yes.
make sure you send me the documentary, because I would love to
Yeah,
definitely look into that.
It's interesting.
All right. Well, I think that was a very great second half of the show on the dish. Thank you, Nick, for sharing, and thank you, Jay, for finding that information. But now we're just gonna wrap it up and bring it home. So I'm gonna toss it over to my bitches so that we can do that. So I'm gonna start off with Nick, because it's your turn. Of course, this is yours. And here's your love.
Thank you. But
You're
what if I
welcome.
had one more thing? All right, everybody, here's Mama Kim's minute. Thank you.
Just in case you had one more thing.
Number 1, the gay student bonkers yearbook quote from 1985 is finally getting the attention it deserves. Number 2, the history-making black queer blues singer was just inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Number 3, how dating apps have tried to become more trans-inclusive over the years. Very trans-centric show today.
Yes, it
boys.
is.
Yes, it
And
is.
it's great. It's amazing. So interesting that you say that gay student bonkers yearbook quote from 1985 is finally getting the attention it deserves.
You want another quote?
Almost 40 years later.
Yeah.
Yes, I want another quote.
Patterson wrote, he went, my ambition to attend U of A and obtain my education degree. I plan to eventually settle down in a quiet suburb with a tall, rich, hunky man with a bushy mustache.
This was a student. Did it actually happen?
Yeah, it's in a yearbook.
Well, no,
No, no,
we
no.
don't know. They
So
don't
the
know.
quote-
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, we don't know. But
No,
that was
the
just...
article, I kind of gazed over the article. They don't know whether this came to
materialized.
fruition or not. And they're actually trying to locate Ian. Is his name, if I'm not mistaken? Because they don't know.
Can you imagine if it actually
That
came
would be
true? That would
awesome.
be
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
40 years, though.
Let's find
40
Ian.
years. All right.
40.
40 años. Sí.
40.
Jaybird, over to you.
Okay, on this day in gay history, brought to you by us. By us.
Just us. Yes.
So the year was 2013. Samoa.
Right.
So Samoa's Crimes Act went into effect. So sodomy is a crime with a sentence of up to 5 years in prison. Keeping a place of resort for homosexual acts is also a crime, carrying a sentence of up to 7 years in prison. This includes anyone who keeps or manages or knowingly acts or assists in the management of any premises used as a place of resort for the commission of indecent acts between males. Jesus. That act, however, also decriminalizes males dressing as females.
Interesting. And this, so the act was enacted in 2013. Oh my God, they
2013,
would have
yeah.
hated the Stonewall.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
the Stonewall, the Eagle, all those places. Man, there would have been a lot of arrests.
A lot of arrests.
That's
I'm
interesting.
sure it's still happening. Just
Oh no, of course. So today's version of club raids are the health department showing up and raiding your place like
Yeah.
9 times in 1 year with no cause.
Yeah.
That's basically how that happens. All right, well, Jaybird, it's still you.
okay. Well, no, is it?
Yes.
We're skipping who won the week.
Oh, who won the week?
I don't think you should
Sorry.
say that.
I'm actually going to say it because there's a reason why I wanted to
No,
say
because
this.
this is going to go down a rabbit hole.
No,
It's-
I'm just simply going to
Oh
say
my God.
my week was won by the New York Police Department for clearing out the Columbia University, campus in time for graduation. Because while it is tragic that things are happening around the world, your right to protest in a in a space does not give you the right to infringe on other people's rights to graduate. It's a once in a lifetime thing.
Actually, it does. But
No, it does not. Because here's the thing.
no, I'm not going down this fucking rabbit hole with you. We're not talking about this.
Columbia
We're
could
moving on.
easily
I'm not talking about
shut it down and be like, you know what? There's a public street.
No,
There's a
Michael.
public street. Go protest on a public street. Get the fuck off the lawn of the university. You're here to freaking study. We've already been through this freaking with you know.
Stop talking.
Back in
Stop.
God knows
This is
which
not
war
the
was
time
it?
for this. Not
Vietnam
the time.
War. We already went through this. But anyway, yeah. So the NYPD won my week because I just thought it was just necessary. It needed to happen. Anywho, all right.
Moving on.
Yes.
Announcements. If you love the show, please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting service. By subscribing, you get the latest and greatest of our show delivered right to your favorite device or web browser as soon as our episodes is published. Excuse me. You can also support us on Patreon. With Patreon, you, our listeners, can help to support the show with a pledged donation. The donations are collected monthly, can be in any denomination of $1 or more. Nick, over to you.
Yes, Queen.
All right, everybody. Get the Future Method and all other products today. All products are doctor developed, can clean out without hurting your bum, take confidence anywhere with the anal powder packs, and increase your stretch goals with the 3-piece anal dilation kit. Visit futuremethod.com to purchase your life-changing bum accessory today. Not to mention, but seriously, Dr. G's new book.
Get it. Available on all the places where you can buy books. Is it available audio yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you listened to it in audio already? Or you have
I
it,
pre-ordered it.
you have it teed up
I pre-ordered
for your trip?
Yeah.
Let me see. Is it available yet?
Is it?
Is it?
My pre-orders. Where my pre-orders at?
But seriously. Something else.
So in the meantime, we're going to put a ring on it.
Are you sure?
Sure, why not?
All right, go for it.
So, our show is available on our website, GayTalk20.com, under audio podcast. It is also available as a free download on Apple Podcasts, Google
YouTube Music. Sorry.
Music,
I have to
and
change
Stitcher.
that.
You did, but it went back. YouTube Music and Stitcher Radio. Nick, over to you.
All right, everybody. You can find us on social media. Facebook, GayTalk 2.0. Instagram, GayTalk 2.0. You can email us at GayTalk2.0 at GayTalk20.com. Tom, it's your turn.
Oh, my God. Here we go. All right, ladies and gents, if you want to reach out to us, you can just head on over to our website. Click on the Contact Us tab, which is located at the top of your web browser. There you can leave comments, suggest topics, submit a question for the cast or an individual host, and you can also give us a ring. Our phone number is 334-GAY-TALK, and if you need all of those digits, it is 334-429-8255. Don't forget, we stream live every Wednesday for all of you folks, and you can access that live stream on our YouTube channel, so make sure you go and subscribe. And with that said, ladies and gents, thank you so much. That is our show, and y'all have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Gay Talk 2.0. Tune in next time for more dish.